I was kind of like hoping that maybe like the rest of the record would be a little more like this. You know? I was kind of like, when I heard this, I was like, what are more of these songs? Do not stand in the shadows. Do not stand in the shadow. Oh. Do not stand. Huh?
Wow. That is a
Name
fine
that artist.
tribute to... Is it Billy Idol?
It's Billy Idol. Nailed it.
I love that.
Well done, Brent. How'd you guess?
You set that whole thing up so perfectly.
I was just like, this would be great. I was like, hey, how can I start this off in an interesting way? I was like, I'm just gonna like.
That's so great. You should just leave it like that for the duration of the show.
Should I? All right.
Yeah.
Good. Sounds good. Yeah. This is production value we've been striving for.
It's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool, is it?
It's very atmospheric.
I mean, it is Billy Idol too. Maybe I should like be changing everything to.
Oh, there you go. Orange.
Welcome to hell, Billy Idol. I was like, Here we go. It's another one. Hey, what'd you think of the Billy Idol album? God, no. I'm sorry. All right. Enough laughing here. Enough laughing. Right. What is this? What are we talking about? Music? Are we trying to have fun here? Let's take this. This is serious business.
That's right.
This is serious business, Brent.
No fun to be had here.
No fun. No
all business.
Funds. Hey, real quick, did you watch the Junos? Did you watch the Junos? Junos happened this weekend. Did you see those? Or it's the weekend, Monday? Though,
I saw this thing where Avril Lavigne was giving a presentation and some clown jumped on stage with no clothes on. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Was that on the show?
Yeah, I sure did. That was part of it. I believe so, yeah. Swore right at her, too. Like the person.
Right.
Like, just caught everything.
Yeah. And was it audible? Because there was no delay, right? There's usually like a 7-second delay. Well,
there's usually delay. They can catch it, but I don't know. All the clips I see on Twitter and everything on Instagram it's all there. It's all the swears. Yeah. Yeah. I tried to read. She had something written that said like "save the green belt" or something like that, which I thought was pretty funny because we talked about the green belt. And
that's right.
Being destroyed in the last episode.
See, she was watching. She was watching the show.
See, I can't even be mad at her anymore because she's a fan. TNRC.
You inspired that behavior, Alex. That was your doing.
I don't know how to take that. I don't know if it's a good thing or if it's a bad thing.
Avril has you to thank for that. Canada has you to thank for that.
Goodness me. I can't be the only one who thinks that about the green belt, though, Brent.
No.
Can't possibly be me. No. But, yeah. Anyways, yeah, no, I didn't really watch him. But I got to say, this artist, Ace Sanabi, have you heard of him? Indigenous artist.
I've heard that name, yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, his name's Evan Pang. And I used to, he played at the Juno stage. His album was nominated for Best Contemporary Indigenous Album or something, I think, or Best Contemporary Indigenous Artist. Mm-hmm. And anyways, I used to play behind this guy on open mics around Toronto.
Are you kidding?
It'd be like, this guy used to kill the open mic circuit. Yeah, there's a ton. No. Like there's a whole community in Toronto of open micers, and he was always a part of that. And I had to go after him a couple times, and he was always the guy you never wanted to go after because he's so good. The way he plays the guitar, the way he sings, and now he's all over the place. He's like, he's I think represented by Universal now, and he's got a booking agent with one of the bigger booking agents around Toronto. He's signed to this Iscode Records. Like, it's just big things happening for the guy. And he played at the Junos, like, on the main stage during the broadcast. And it's just been really cool to see all that happening. Yeah.
That's cool.
So, anyways. Yeah,
see,
cool.
That could be you.
There you go.
Couldn't it?
No. No, that could be. That could be me. Maybe hosting. I might be able to host the Junos one year.
You could.
Brent?
I think you could.
You think so?
Absolutely. Why not?
I don't think anybody ever does a great job of hosting the Junos, so sorry,
Who did it this time?
But yeah, Simu Liu.
I don't know that name.
Who was he? He was he's part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. What other show was he in?
He's done voiceovers, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I think he did the Kim's Convenience. Was that one of his shows? Maybe.
Maybe.
Anyways, yeah. Anyways, just thought I'd ask.
You could do it.
Thanks, man. It's all
could.
scripted, anyways, unless a streaker joins me on stage.
Well, and that just makes that makes it more fun, actually.
Yeah.
See, Admiral should have had fun with that. It could have been funny. Could have been a funny little bit.
Could have been. Yeah. Well, I guess it turned out pretty funny. She said, like, F off, bitch, right? Right on.
Yeah. And slapped one of her boobs, apparently.
So. Yeah.
So I heard that she, like, slapped her.
She smacked the breast.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, speaking of breasts. Billy Idol.
And you keeping me abreast of the music of the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Excellent segue, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you, Brent.
This is why we're friends.
You set me up perfectly. Yeah, that's right. Rebel Yell, Billy Idol. Hit me. What's going on? What's happening with Billy Idol's Rebel Yell?
Oh, Billy. So the reason why I picked this record is because now we're, again, going into the 80s. And it doesn't sound like it completely, but this is a new wave record. It sounds a lot like a hard rock record because of Steve Stevens, to me anyway. But technically it is a new wave record. And it comes from, that long line of Costello, Pretenders, Talking Heads, all the new wave stuff. So, yeah. So the demonstration, in essence, is we've come, through this kind of path where it's been all those bands that I just mentioned. And now we're going to get into the 80s to see how Billy Idol kind of fits in and transform new wave into something, that's a little bit different. How it kind of morphed into, it's hard to describe, like hair metal and stuff like that, and more of kind of performance rock, as it were. Yeah. So
I hope you don't feel like I'm making you too much of like a teacher and you needing to have like a curriculum for me on this stuff.
No, I kind of put this on myself. I was thinking about all this, and I think that when did this start? I brought in a record. Because think about this. This has been like a long journey, right? When did I start doing this? I can't remember what the first record was. It was after like Boston and all those. But there was a record, and I thought, this is kind of, it was Cheap Trick, I think. It was right after that. Right,
okay.
Yeah, so I started thinking about new wave. And then I started thinking about like all the important records of that time. The Police, I think maybe that's what it was.
Right, yes. Yeah.
And then I thought it would be cool to kind of demonstrate that line, right? And so now we're almost at the end of it. But then see, we can do this. We can go all the way through the 80s and then go into the 90s as well. So it is almost like a little kind of teacher's curriculum, right?
Okay, yeah. See, I'm cool with that. I hope you find a way to bring us back too. I feel like I still haven't discovered a lot of the 70s. There's some good stuff, but
yes,
there's a good loop back. It's a good turnaround point at some point.
I'll make one.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I trust you.
There are a lot of records we haven't covered yet from the 70s that are quite good.
IBWT, right? IBWT. In Brent we trust. Okay.
Thank you.
We do not lose the faith. IBWT. All right. So cool.
I'll
all right.
do my best.
Nice.
Yeah. I should mention that my throat is still quite scratchy. So if I fly into a coughing fit,
it's okay, man.
Forgive me.
You leave the mic alone. I'll mute you in post. Don't worry about it.
Perfect.
You just clear your throat. I gotcha.
Okay.
Don't think about it. I gotcha.
You're the man.
Wow.
See, folks, Alex takes care of you.
That's why they pay me the big bucks. That's why they pay me the big bucks.
That's right. It's very expensive, but he takes care of you.
Exactly. That's it. So you mentioned Steve Stevens on this, the guitar player on this album. Boy, did that guy save this album for me? I tell you that much.
Oh no, you didn't like it.
Oh man, third song. By the third song, I was fast asleep. I was.
Are you joking?
Where am I here? Yeah, no, I mean Rebel Yell. I mean I'd known Rebel Yell, but then after that it was like, whew, Nelly.
No way.
Daytime drama. Eyes Without a Face.
Wow.
But Steve Stevens' guitar playing, well, man, this guy was great. Great stuff.
Yeah, truly it is.
Yeah, that's what I loved about it. So,
wow.
Obviously super 80s. I guess there's some new wave in this. It just felt, I guess that's what it is. But I was just like, this is just 80s. Again, same thing that I said about, Def Leppard. This just feels 80s. So, I'm just not so sure I'm hip to the sound of the 80s, but I'm hip to listening through it and trying to feel the power of the music. But so far, yeah.
Some of this is almost like Blondie, right? Like it's almost like you have to kind of it's a study of. It's not like you're going to love it.
Yeah.
But you have to kind of look at it and understand its place in the whole kind of pantheon of the music and everything. And there are going to be, I was going to bring in Television, Marquee Moon, which isn't for everybody, but it's important. But I thought, it's like really kind of out there. So there are going to be records like that. So, again, it's cool that, I actually thought you were going to like this though, to be honest.
Oh, did you?
Yep, I did.
Well, maybe there are some songs. Well, there are some songs. Not maybe there are some songs. There are some songs.
Yeah.
But this was like, again, I'd heard White Wedding, I'd heard Rebel Yell, and I kind of had this like, I was really hoping it was going to be better than those songs, but everything was essentially like, nope, not surprised. Okay, this is Billy Idol. I thought going into like with the Cars, Talking Heads, it's like there's no way I'm gonna like, even Costello, like I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, and then I listened to it and I was like, wow, there's so much here I didn't realize, I didn't think about. Billy Idol was like, this is yep.
See, that's really funny because at the end, maybe I was kind of basing it on that too, the fact that the Cars, you were like, yeah, but you loved it. Talking Heads, yeah. Well, yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, well, kind of. Not. I mean, I'm looking at this guy. Okay, I'm looking at a picture of him right now. I'm like, wow, this guy's gonna come in with the heat,
right?
And
and he didn't.
Sure. Well, Rebel Yell maybe brings a bit of a match flame, but then after that, it's like it's kind of like, oh, what happened here? So
wow.
But some good grooves. Maybe we should just dive right into it. But like some good grooves, and nice little riffs, fun stuff. And then honestly, like I can't remember who else I've said this about. But like just once he starts singing, I'm kind of just like, oh no, like Billy Idol ruins his own music.
No way. Wow.
Yeah.
He's got it's funny. I was thinking when I was listening to this record, I hear so much that I feel like I missed when I was 15 when it came out. And again, kind of on a side note, maybe there is a nostalgic pull because I did listen to this quite a bit when I was in high school. So there could be that. But I hear so much, of what I missed previously. Like I hear a little bit of kind of Rolling Stones, and I hear some funk, and I hear, that Elvis snarl a little bit. And I didn't hear that when I was a kid. So it's a different listen for me too. I get what you're saying though about, thinking that it's going to be this kind of tour de force, and it's kind of, it's 80s.
Yeah, I set myself up for failure.
But 80s has that effect on people who maybe didn't necessarily kind of live it, right? Because it's very thin. It can be very thin, we'll say.
Okay.
I mean, it's funny because it's supposed to be big and colorful and monstrous and everything else, but it can be pretty thin in retrospect. This is probably a good time to tell you, by the way, that Billy Idol's name is not Billy Idol. It's William Broad. he changed his name to Billy Idol because on his report card as a kid, when he was in, I think it was middle school, one of his teachers said, William's brain appears to be idle, I-D-L-E. And so he said, I'm going to get that woman back. And he changed his last name to Idol, I-D-O-L. And he said, I am Billy Idol. Rest is history.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's more rock and roll than this entire album. That's cool. That's sorry.
But see, the album is Idol to you, I-D-L-E.
It is,
unfortunately.
Sure does. Well, you mentioned the Rolling Stones. It's also a good segue into song 1 and how they came up with the name of the name of the song and the name of the album. Right? You know that story? I read it online, so you probably do.
I do. Yeah. He wanted to call the record that. I guess he was at a party with Ronnie Wood and Richards and Jagger, and they were all taking pulls from this bourbon bottle called Rebel Yell.
Rebel Yell. Yeah.
Yeah. So it started with our friend.
Little bourbon.
The bourbon. Yeah. I thought that was a cool story.
It is a cool story. Not even that story about bourbon and the influence bourbon had on the album could change my thoughts on it. So, well, Rebel Yell's a cool tune. I've never really disliked it. I've just never been into it. It's nothing super outstanding about it. I do like the energy in it, like his kind of screaming and whatever. But for me, it's the riffs. For me, it's the guitar, and like that's really the main thing for me on this tune.
It's interesting that you say that, because this is kind of a funny record for me, because as I said earlier, it's a new wave record, but it's almost like it's got one foot in the new wave genre and one foot in the hair band genre.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
This came out, I think, in November 1983, and Quiet Riot was a big band back then. At that time, Rat, Motley Crue was just coming up. So it was a lot of that staccato kind of guitar, chug, chug, chug guitar that was getting big. And I think that they really focused on that, on purpose, because they could see it, the burgeoning scene was happening. And so they wanted to get on that train.
Well, even Talking Heads Speaking in Tongues is 1983 as well. So
yeah, that's true.
It's interesting. It's kind of interesting that Idol's kind of considered in that new wave world.
Right. Songs like Daytime Drama are very much new wave.
That's a good point.
Even the drums,
That's why
it could be mistaken for like a Flock of Seagulls song to me, almost.
Oh yeah.
Do you agree?
Okay. I know one Flock of Seagulls song, and I agree. I ran. Yeah, that's it.
But it's just kind of got that same feel, right? And that electronic drum, like it's got that
the affected drum. And like that's a cool riff. I love that, like bang 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 bang. Like it's all really cool guitars, but then he starts singing, and it's just like. And I'm just kind of like,
that is so funny.
Well, the song, not to mention that every song is over like 4.5 minutes long on this album. I'm
that's true.
So anyway, sorry.
No, that's fine. This is very interesting for me.
Daytime Drama, though, is I don't have. Ooh.
What about? See, you didn't like Eyes Without a Face, eh?
It's a nice little. Again, I love like the atmosphere. I love the groove. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I shouldn't say love. No, I don't love it, but it's interesting. It's kind of cool, but then just so super. People are gonna kill me for this. Just super 80s. Like I can't take too much of this. It's kind of.
I don't blame you for the age that you are. Again, it's thin, right? And it's almost like people look back in the 80s and kind of mock it for being very one-dimensional.
Well, this feels like a very Eyes Without a Face feels very much like, I don't know, like a high school dance song. So I see the nostalgic pull of this song being like, I remember sitting down in the basement with Shirley Lane, and we were just, she touched my hand.
Just like a 50s sock hop, Shirley Lane.
I don't know, whatever, man. This first old name that came to my. Anyways, so it just she touched my hand. She touched my hand to this song, but so, I mean, it's kind of a weird romantic song, but anyways, that's what I get.
And then I touched her on her blouse.
Yeah, the wind kind of blew her skirt up a little bit. I saw the top of her knee, and I was like, "Whoa, ooh!"
Yeah,
this tingles. I'd never had tingles before. Yeah, so I get that. I could feel it.
This is not at all what Billy Idol imagined when he, put this record out. The two guys would be talking about his record in this context. Poor guy.
Probably not. He did all right for himself, though, for a time. So I'm not too upset.
I heard a story once about Billy that he had difficulties with the chemical adventures, and I don't know what year this was, but he was with a professional, a lady of the evening in a hotel room, and he excused himself and went to the bathroom, and he didn't come out for a very long time, and so she went in to see what he was doing. And she found him on the ground, unconscious, with a needle in his arm. And called 911. The needle still in his arm.
Oh, jeez, Billy. Damn it, Billy.
Yeah.
You told that story earlier. I don't know if we kept it in the episode or not, but I remember you talking about that one. I don't know why we were talking about Billy Idol, but I just see, like, it's just so weird. I look at it, like, was he trying to be a heartthrob? Like, what was that his plan? Like,
no.
When you sing these kinds of songs, I don't know.
I don't think so. Even his hair, like, he had that hairstyle in the 80s was very popular, and he made it popular just because it was like dyed like platinum, kind of white almost, right? Yeah. Apparently that was a mistake. Like, he had gone to have blue highlights put in his jet black hair. Okay. And the woman brought her dye kit. And so she had the highlights, but she couldn't, you had to dye your hair light so that you could see where the blue would be, and then you dyed it back or something. There was like a 2-step process. So she couldn't complete the second step because she didn't have the black dye. And she said to him, and she had already done the work, and she said, "Oh, Jesus, I peroxided your hair, and now I can't bring it back because I don't have this ingredient." And he said, "Oh." And she said, "I'm so sorry. Like, if you just want to stay home, you probably don't want people to see you like this. And, maybe next week we'll fix it." And he said, "Okay." So he was looking at it in the mirror, and he's like, "Actually, this is not too bad. It's kind of funny." And he went to rehearsal. He was in a band called Chelsea back then. And the singer looked at him and said, "You're not going to leave your hair like that, are you?" And he said, "I don't know, maybe." And he's like, "No, you're not. Like, dye it back to black, like jet black." And, the rest of the guys all had that. And so he said, "No, I'm going to leave it." And
you want to tell me what to do? You're not going to tell me what to do.
Well, that's it.
I'm going to do what I want to do. Huh?
Yeah. So, and that's, that's his look.
That's how he got the look. Interesting.
That's how he got the blonde look. Yeah.
That's very interesting, man. I look at him. It's so weird to look at him and hear some of this music. I just like, and like, I just don't know what his intention was with his look and his music and his identity, and I don't know. It's just weird. It just seems a little weird to me.
This is funny for me. Again,
Okay.
I always love hearing your perspective on stuff because there's a 20+ year difference between you and I, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, wow. I actually thought, based on the history of the songs or the records that we brought in, that you would actually like this. This is really, it's interesting to me, though.
Yeah. Well, so Eyes Without a Face, we'll just wrap it up with that. I mean, it's cool. There's one cool part where it's kind of like banana or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. That sounds neat.
Yeah, I love that part.
It's like what is it? The last half of that Blondie song where it was like it comes in. It's almost like that reggae riff or whatever, right? That's just like, man, it's just cool. Fade Away and Radiate.
No, it's a cool riff. I know exactly what you mean because as soon as I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And it takes the song in this different direction, but it's just a very catchy riff. And again, it's that staccato kind of, the chug chug. So it's really catchy.
My way.
Sorry, just one interesting fact about that song. I don't know if you picked up on this. Did you hear what the the woman in the background is singing. His girlfriend, Perry Lister, is the singer, by the way.
Oh, okay. Like as part of the chorus?
Mm-hmm. So what the words are. Could you tell what she was saying?
No.
She's singing Eyes Without a Face in French. Les yeux sans visage.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that until much later. So I listened to this record in high school and I didn't pick up on that at all. And I spoke French in high school. And the whole time I thought it was just like some vocalization that maybe wasn't even like words.
Speaking in tongues.
Right, exactly.
It's the rage in 1983. Yeah.
That's right.
Cool. No, I didn't know that. Yeah, speaking of French.
It was after a movie in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was like a horror film or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, Idle made parallels between the movie and his life. And he was very kind of, into all that stuff. He thought he was like going insane. And
well, he's a musician. Of course he was.
Well, his hair was peroxided.
It was peroxided. It was platinum blonde. He didn't even mean to do it. Oh, poor guy.
All right.
Can't even stick himself right. Blue Highway.
Blue Highway.
Now this is a tune. Big fan of this one.
Do you remember, we didn't do the record. Oh, we did do the record. Scorpions Blackout. Do you remember?
We didn't do Blackout.
What did we do?
We did
Love Drive. Right. They have a song called Blackout, and it's a very similar riff. So this is a similar riff, but it's a lighter production.
Got it.
It's a little bit more commercial and catchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool that you like it.
I do like it. I was kind of like hoping that maybe like the rest of the record would be a little more like this. I was kind of like, when I heard this, I was like, what are more of these songs? So this was cool. Great, again, Steve Stevens, great guitar playing on this song. Absolutely slays it. I love it. I love it. Like it doesn't seem like, it almost seems like a little Stevie Ray Vaughan, the tone of his guitar, like this guy had a great tone. He had a great playing style, a great feel for the guitar, and I just saves this album for me. It's so great.
I can totally see that. He's a great player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Very talented. Did you like the Rebel EL guitar solo with that modulator? That effect? It sounds like a ray gun. In the studio, he used a ray gun. He used a modulator, like an effect. And he just set it up so that the delay was really tight. But later on, he used to buy these Chinese ray guns, and he would put it on the pickup. He would set the tone of it to like a certain speed and emulate that modulation sound, and put it like on his pickup. And he did that live with like Chinese toy guns. Now, side 2, Flesh.
This is where side 2 starts.
For Fantasy.
Flesh.
Right? That part is
Flesh
so cool.
For Fantasy.
When he says Flesh.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's pretty cool. I agree with that. Again, by this point, I'm kind of like, well, this is all right. This is Billy. Okay. Not getting much further out of this, but cool chorus. I like the way the instruments kind of change here. He yells that Flesh out, and it's, good energy again. It's just, again, a little too, just not for me.
Good arrangement for me. Good songwriting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel a little bit of Judas Priest at times in here. Some little bit of Halford vocals at times, and Priest riffs. And I feel like Flesh for Fantasy was one of those that kind of just, I don't know, just kind of struck me as a Priest inspired tune.
Very much. See, again, one foot in new wave, one foot in hard rock /heavy metal. That's what sold this record, I think. And they got a lot of mileage out of this album too. Like the fourth single, "Catch My Fall," came out more than a year after the album did. Yeah, that came out because the record came out in November '83, and this single came out, I think, in December '84. So more than a year later. Yeah, they got their money's worth out of this record. But it was doing so well, I think, that they just kept putting singles out. And this is funny because this could have been the first single, really. But I think they wanted to kind of, much contrasted to your view, but they wanted to show that Billy Idol had some teeth, right? And so "Catch My Fall" is like this nice little kind of saxophone. It sounds more like In Excess than it does,
right?
Judas Priest, right? But
yeah,
it's very light.
It's a killer sax line. Again, this just doesn't. It doesn't. I don't know. This to me, I'm like, who is Billy? Like, who is this guy? What's he trying to do? What's he trying to be? It just seems really weird. But I don't know, man. I don't know what skewed my vision about this. I don't know what's kind of inhibited it, aside from just the music maybe of it and the way that he sings to it. It just doesn't sit in a positive way. I just don't. I'm like, ugh, it's not for me. Not for me. No. But again, the sax solo is great, man. This is like killer sax player on this tune.
Mars Williams is the guy's name.
Mars Williams?
Yeah. Guessed it.
It's a great name.
Yeah. Right? It's a cool rock name. Mars
That's a
Williams.
sax player name for sure. Yeah. But again, I feel the nostalgic pull of it. So maybe that's just what it is for a lot of people.
Yeah. For me, it certainly is.
This still holds up for you, though?
What's that, sorry?
This album still holds up for you? You still like today, you're like, yeah, I could listen to this?
Again, like there's nostalgic equity. So I hear your message loud and clear. Like I get it. Because this is very much an 80s record. And you have to enjoy 80s records for what they are. Like you truly do. Because they're geared towards commercial success often. And this one certainly was. But there's nostalgic equity, I think, for me. Like I have a fondness for this record, especially, the singles. "Catch My Fall," I love. Because you just pair them with memories that you have of things that you were doing at the time as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally, man.
Emblematic of youth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense with this album.
Yeah.
Crank Call starts out, I almost felt like it was like a boss battle in like a Nintendo game. The way that this song starts off, it's like, and you're like, oh no, flashing lights, like, oh yeah, here comes the big boss battle. That's what it felt like at first. It takes a bit of a different turn afterwards, but okay. Again, the riffs are good. I'm a broken record about this. I don't know. It's how he sings it. I don't like how he sings. I don't like how he sings these songs.
I wonder what Steve Stevens thinks of that. If you were to like ply him with a couple drinks at this point in his career and say, so, your guitar was one thing, Billy's vocals were another thing. Talk to me about that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because he left after Whiplash Smile, I think, later on. And he went and played with Vince Neil from Motley Crue. So kind of went from that's frying pan to fire vocally, really.
Yeah.
So maybe he doesn't care. Maybe that's it right there. Maybe he doesn't give a
maybe
shit.
he's like the vocals on this suck so much my guitar is going to stand out like a diamond in the rough. He's just like, this is it. This is my chance to be heard.
That's it. Right? Because, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Remember Volume Wars, like being in bands and stuff. The guitar player would turn up and the vocalist would be like turning up his monitors. And then it's like, it just keeps going up and up and up. And it's like, turn down. No, you turn down. And
no, you turn it down.
You just try to like,
I did
crush
turn it
the
down.
other with the, remember that? I hated that so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
The guitar player always would turn up just a little bit.
I can see people really loving Billy Idol's voice, though. A lot of people really like Idol's voice and the way he sang these songs? They must have.
Everyone did. The girls loved it. Yeah. Because like I said, he kind of snarled his lip. He had that little Elvis thing happening, right?
Last cool part about this song, just before that solo, about kind of like halfway through, like Steve Stevens comes in with a and then he gets to do his guitar solo. Like that's what I'm talking about. Where it's like he's like this. Oh my boy, here we go. The guitar's gonna stand out right here.
Oh yeah.
That was a great moment in this song. Just comes and like kicks you in the face out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's and a great solo. This guy was awesome. This guy was all over it with this album.
Oh, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's funny because like he is such an integral part of this music and this record. It's weird that everything was like Billy Idol, like soloist, you know, the name of the band. It's only Billy on the cover. Like everything is Billy, but Stevens, like without being seen, like he kind of almost dwarfs, you know, Idol himself. It's almost like a Steve Stevens record for some people.
Yeah, right? For me. Exactly.
It's funny.
Me. That's
because I thought the same thing when I was a kid. I was mesmerized by all these riffs.
Do not stand in the shadows. This song was good. I really like this song. Yeah. It was a great, again, I love like singing that chorus. It's a great chorus. It's very upbeat. Love the synth or keys, whatever it is that's making that noise. Good melodies. It's a good song. This is a really good song. This and Blue Highway and Rebel Yell is what this album needed more of.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Eyes Without a Face is a good slow song, but
that's like half the record almost. See, you have
well, 9. Yeah, I guess it's a half. Yeah,
there you go.
It's not like it's not really like a love. It's like these are the songs that I, would listen to, some other time. I put on Blue Highway randomly. I was just like, hey Alexa, play Blue Highway because I just wanted to hear On the Blue Highway. Yeah, so there's some good things he did.
See, Blue Hawaii is an Elvis song. That's interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you just sang that kind of in an Elvis style, didn't you? Isn't that funny? See the correlations?
Kind of funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am Elvis is what you're telling me.
You really are.
Then, I really am. Yeah, and then The Dead Next Door is like, I can fall asleep again.
It's flat. That's a flat song. That's a clunker for me. Yeah. It's very flat.
Yeah. It's a number 9. True number 9, sitting at number 9.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while, folks. Been a while since the number 9, folks. So.
That's a number 9 for sure. Yeah. That's just kind of like an add-on, right? They just slapped that on the end. They didn't need it.
He just wanted to sing a nice little ballad at the end to send people on their way.
No, it's a bit creepy as well, though, isn't it? It's like
sure, I didn't pay much attention.
It's about corpses and dead people in the next house over.
Oh, The Dead Next Door. Okay, that makes sense. Guess I could have taken that away from the title of the song. Yeah. Yeah.
So, the verdict. Uh-oh.
Oh,
can you give zeros on this show?
No, I can never give zeros.
Remember what you said about the songs.
I know. I guess it's a 3.
All right. That's fair.
I'm really close to 2.5 though. Ooh. I'm like pushing to. It's like pushing 2.5. It's like 2.5, 3.
Wow.
Sorry, Billy. Sorry, Brent. But hey, like I said, IBWT. All right, it's okay. And Brent, we trust. All right, so we'll.
Well, again, it's a study of and keeping in mind 80s music.
Yes.
It is not looked upon fondly by history.
Right.
So, yeah.
I've said it 1,000 times. I'll keep saying it. I'm glad I'm getting to listen to this stuff. I'm glad I'm at least taking it in, checking out what Billy Idol was all about, and just exploring. Awesome. So that will never, that's why I'll never give it a 1 or a 0.
0. Do you think that
Well,
you'll
never
ever
give it a 0.
Do you think you'll ever give anything a 0 on the show?
It'll have to be pretty bad, but you'll never give me a record that bad.
No, I wouldn't.
No.
And there are some zeros out there, trust me.
There are some zeros out there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Got
But
it.
regardless of, what we're trying to do here,
Yeah.
I would never bring a really, really, really bad record on the show.
For sure. No. IBWT, man. It's good. I got you. I feel you. How do we bounce back, though? How do we bounce back? Is it possible to bounce back in the 80s? From
You know what? We're on a run now.
Keep it going, man.
We could fold this whole thing and go back and do like Fleetwood Mac.
Keep true to your vision, man. Keep true to your vision. How are you steering this thing?
Well, my vision next on the highway would be
The Blue
Motley
Highway.
Crue, Shout at the Devil.
Okay, we're here. We've made it. You're a crew head, aren't you? You were a big. Yeah,
I was when I was a kid. I truly was.
Okay.
For this record, for sure. So
Shout at the Devil.
this record is the next kind of logical progression, because Billy Idol was a punk, post-punk, new wave, hair rock for me. This record was Steve Stevens. Now we're getting into Motley Crue, who deployed kind of the same tactics with, the staccato riffing and the, you'll hear what I mean when you listen to the record, but
Okay.
it's very much in the same vein, but it's a little bit, it's more kind of Judas Priest than it is Billy Idol.
All right.
But you'll see you'll see why I selected this record.
Is this going to be like a Kiss experience for me, where it's like
Possibly.
I knew kind of Kiss was about when with kind of low expectations.
You need
Motley Crue is sort of in the same realm as that, maybe.
You might need to stare at the sun for a couple hours before you listen to this record.
Noted.
Just a warning.
Noted. Yeah,
Just an
you got it.
advisory.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, cool, man. All right, we're getting into it. Okay. So I'm going to do absolutely zero research on this one because I know you know everything there is to know about Motley Crue. So I'm just going to listen to the music. I'm not even going to read about them.
I know every hi-hat note. I know every pick scrape. I know everything about. I know everything about this record.
All right.
So yes,
sick. That's great.
I will carry it on my shoulders.
I'm just going to focus on listening to the music and providing you my thoughts on the songs.
Perfect.
And leave the background checks.
Perfect.
To you, Brent.
All right.
Sweet. Okay. Motley Crue. Shout at the devil, folks. Shout.
All right.
Shout.
I would shout if I could.
But,
thank you for putting up with my awful throat.
Hey, man. No problem. Like we said at the top of the show, that's why they pay me the big bucks, and I got you. I got you.
Where are my big bucks?
Where are my big bucks?
How come I'm not?
Well, I mean, I say that just like I'm just still waiting. I'm still waiting. I think
it's like a band being out on the like Black Sabbath when they're out on the road. They're like, how come we're not getting paid? Oh, it takes time, guys. It takes time.
No,
it takes time, man.
Yeah,
6 records in, Black Sabbath T-shirts in the crowd. Where's the money? It takes time. Money was going into the producers or the managers' pockets.
Awful.
Yeah. Who's our manager? Maybe we should have a chat with him. Maybe he's got all our money.
He's got all our money. I think it's that guy that runs YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Or
that
girl.
guy.
That person.